everyone to spread number 58.
Wow.
And since we started this year, we've done a lot of different activities, such as volunteering at Manny's at Valencia. We've done camping at Lake Oroville. Most recently was poker night / balloon night. So, welcome to SPREAD. SPREAD stands for Supporting Respect, Education, and Discourse.
Okay, that's fine.
And our mission is to create a community for layered connections and inspiration through self-expression. So what exactly does that mean? So we definitely want to create a community where everyone comes and knows each other, be lifelong friends, form relationships, etc. Layered connections, meaning that we connect through different topics. So not only, for example, like skincare or financial management or poker, all kinds of different things. And hopefully we do this through self-expression. So if one of us is interested in a particular topic, then we'll share it with each other and learn from each other. And finally, hopefully that inspires you to share what you like, what your hobbies are, something that interests you or gets you really fired up. So today we're going to do gun safety with Jackie. Yes. How many of you guys have actually touched or handled a gun before? Okay, just around the room. And then how many of you guys are first time?
Killers?
All right. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Jackie.
Thank you. Why the United States is the greatest country ever? Because we have the first rule that we made as a country is that we have freedom of speech. We get to say whatever we want. And the second rule, the Second Amendment, to protect our First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, the right to bear arms.
Armed bears.
But honestly, I want this event to be kind of like an introduction to guns, how California gun laws and gun restriction, and how, despite how it looks, California is actually doing really good with its gun laws, even though some of the rules are kind of weird and unnecessary. And we're gonna have like some safety demonstrations. My friend Sam generously volunteered to bring some of his
Actually didn't. I was forced to.
bring some of his weapons, different weapon systems, just to like let us just let us see what the different variety and how different variety of weapons work and the mechanics of the weapons. Okay, let's go do the boring stuff first, which is, I know, right? Look at the transitions. Which is federal gun laws. Believe it or not, we actually do have background checks whenever you buy weapons in, what was it? FFLs. That's, I forgot what that stands for. I have it somewhere. But basically, like, federal government approved dealers, basically. So if you go to like actual gun shops, they actually do check backgrounds in all the states, not just California or the places where it has strict gun laws. However, what some of the people is basically complaining is that if you go to a gun show, or if me as a person transferring another weapon to another person, they don't have to do background checks. That's the gray area where people want background check all across the board. And we'll talk about California background check law later, but this is the federal law. So the first one, which is the older one, is the prohibition of machine guns. For the people that are also in the military, they will know M60, M2, and M61 is. one of those things that mount on the vehicle and go like da 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 in the movies. So that's actually prohibited to sell to any civilians since 1986. So that's like the actual machine guns. They're not for us. Second one, all handgun requires background check on most firearm purchases depending on seller. Oh, okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about too. All the states, most of them have some kind of background check system in place. Federal assault weapon ban. So way back then, there was actually already have a assault weapon ban, or assault weapon ban back then, but because it's expired and Congress actually decided to like not renew it, hence we have like a sudden surge of like different other states buying a lot of like automatic or semi-automatic weapons. But this is the basic of federal gun laws in the United States. However,
So,
since
just to clarify, the third one, so now people are allowed to buy semi-automatics, but previously before 2004 you couldn't.
yeah, between 1994 and 2004, you could not buy them in the whole United States, either through the large magazines. So like if this was really big, except for like AR or M16, those kind of. Basically, those are banned, but now it's legal in some states because the law expired and the Congress didn't renew it. Yeah. And a lot of gun laws is also dependent on state too. So, wow.
Wow, that fact. I appreciate that effort.
Wait, was that just that's just a show? Wait. Oh, okay. So with California law, there are lifetime bans. There's 5-year bans. There's 10-year bans, and there is 1-year bans. If you did any of these things, you would, at least for this one, which is lifetime ban, if you commit any felony or any violent offense, that's it. You cannot own a gun anymore. If you take out your weapon and like start threatening people, or found by the court to be mentally incompetent or a danger to yourself or to others, or even any or some misdemeanor involving weapons, that's it. You're banned, and you will not be able to legally own a gun anymore. And with the 10-year and 5-year bans, there's also a lot more, but I just kind of cherry pick a few of them to just show as indications or like examples. So anything like carrying a loaded weapon to like a school or city hall, that will get you a 10-year ban. Threatening your psychiatrist, that's a 5-year ban. Like, okay.
Yeah. And your family can report you too, and
Yes.
check if your guns are
Yes, correct. And
Oh yeah.
there are other bans. One of the weird California law was the assault weapon control of 1989, and they've been updating it differently every year, and that's where a lot of people had gripes with, like, hey, this doesn't even make sense. Right here is a AR type weapon, and what's illegal is that grenade launcher on the weapon is definitely illegal. Which is kind of obvious. Okay, I get it.
I want that 360 no scope.
A pistol grip, which is something you grip for control, that's actually also illegal in California. So anything that has that attachment is not allowed. Anything like folding stock or like magazine more than 10 rounds, that's also illegal. One of the weirder thing is that with this pistol grip, so this is illegal, and having something like this is also illegal. And honestly, having hold like both of these weapons before, it doesn't really affect much if you're just having the fin, which is this is the legal part. So if you add like a fin on there, that's legal. But like it's, at most it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't really affect how you shoot. Anyways. Okay. To be able to own a gun, you have to go through, in California, you have to go through a federal firearm license dealer, so FFLs, and must be 21 years old or older, lives in California, complete firearm safety certificate. And honestly, I took it and Sam took it. I don't think, Steven, did you ever take that one?
No, military doesn't actually.
Yeah, that was before I went to the military. And the questions that they asked was basically like, hey, would you point a gun to a baby's head? Or like, hey,
I don't know.
Yes. Let me think about it.
I'm at a loss.
hey, should you give like a
Yeah,
gun
but
to a child?
Yeah, but like, what's the baby doing?
Yeah. So the questions are
Terrorist babies.
really easy. We literally just showed up and answered it. And when you buy a gun, after it shows up to the dealer, you have to perform the safety, or you have to learn all the safety inspections and safety checks. And when you buy a gun in California, you have to have a 10 days waiting period, and each month you can only buy one gun. And looking at all these, so far with California gun laws, honestly it doesn't seem that strict, and most of them seems like reasonable. However, California is still literally the #1 is the strictest gun law in the States.
Huh.
So
But you still have to have a background check, right?
Yes.
yes, you still have to have a background check, and with California's background check is actually just all out. So if you are transferring your the gun that you own, like if Sam is transferring me his handgun, he will have to go to the FFL dealer, telling them that, hey, I'm giving it to my friend Jackie, and they have to do a background check on me in order for me to actually receive it under my name. Yeah, so compared to like federal law where like, hey, I only have to do a background check when I buy it from the dealer shop, and not like, transferring it from friend to friend or family to family. In California, you have to do background check no matter what kind of transfer or what kind of purchase. The 5 essential rules for firearm safety. And since we're about to talk about this, we're gonna pass some of these weapons around for everyone to feel and to look at.
You saying something?
Okay, so Sam and I already checked all the weapons and it's all unloaded with no bullets. The max is all empty, so everything's okay. But generally, whenever you're handed a weapon, always treat it as it's loaded. Secondly, the second rule is always keep the muzzle, which is the point of the gun, in a safe direction. We don't always want to point it to ourselves or point it to somebody, because just in case something is loaded, you don't want to like shoot them. But since we already double checked all the weapons, it's okay. But do keep in mind to like try to point it to the ground or the floor. Thirdly, third rule is to never put your finger on the trigger unless you are like ready to fire. So always like keep your finger on the side so don't actually like put your finger into the trigger area until and since we're not doing any firing, so that's basically all we're gonna do, holding our finger on the side. Rule 4 and 5 is kind of not for this class, but it's also always good to know. Whenever we are at the range and we're shooting at a direction, you always want to know where the bullet is going, because even though if there's a hill or a wall behind it, there could be someone next to the hill or behind the hill or next to the wall behind the wall. And bullets, go through a lot of things. Yeah, even in the movies where like people are hiding behind cars, it's actually like they can go through the cabin of your car and like shoot you on the other side, or like if you're hiding behind your car door, it actually goes through the car door and like shoot you. Yeah. So always like know where you're shooting, and rule 5 is always know where your ammos are, what kind of ammos is in your weapon and kind of stuff like that. But first we're gonna talk about is the handguns. Handguns are usually used for competition or home defense or self-defense. Like in other states, they do like concealed carry. So that's for like them doing the self-defense. In California, however, handguns are basically only allowed at home. You can have it allowed in your vehicle. However, it has to be locked up and unloaded. Oh yeah, one of the good things is that handgun is actually illegal in many other different countries, but in the United States, because we do have the Second Amendment, it's a lot more easier to come by. And I believe the reason why handguns are illegal in other countries is because it's so easy to hide them. So right now we have like a little short animation of how a handgun works. Like once the bullet goes into here, and someone pulls the trigger, it clicks the powder and then it shoots out and then pops back out again.
Oh, that's a good animation.
Whoa, whoa,
Volume up.
Look at these hands of boys.
whoa, whoa.
What do you guys shoot?
Who are these demonstrators? Who are these people?
It's not as loud as I thought.
With handguns, I'm gonna also talk about bullets.
Nice. Congrats.
So for this one, this is a Glock, right? Sam? Okay, so this is a Glock. With Glocks, this one doesn't actually have a safety, right? Yeah, I remember it doesn't have a safety. So basically, Glock is a point and shoot gun. After you load up your weapon, you just point at the direction you want to shoot and shoot. And I'll pass this along.
How does the safety typically work on a handgun? Like, how does it prevent?
But let me show you. But with handguns, most handguns actually have a safety. You're either right here or usually right here.
Okay.
And showing F is fire. Showing S is safe.
Okay.
So
Usually have the indicator. Usually red for fire, white for not. But if you don't have the color, look for the letters.
yeah. And since right now it's on safe, okay, it's on safe.
Okay. Well, it's like it mechanically prevents the trigger from moving, or mechanically prevents something else from moving. Like,
It actually does mechanically prevent the trigger from moving. So when you look at here, there's actually some components in the back that once you press the trigger, it clicks on the component where the hammer hits the primer and fires the bullet. So the safety is actually disengaging some components. Different handguns have different components, but like generally disengages the safety components when you put it on fire. So when you click, when you shoot, the hammer will hit the primer.
Got it, Will?
got it.
I don't know when you would ever use that information.
Anything to add, Sam?
We have different varieties of the safety, so we'll show it after.
Oh, okay, cool. Are there? Who's in this video?
Our friend Aiden and
I don't know. I don't know who's that.
Hey Sam, here girl.
Is it normal to like hold the handgun with just one hand and like the other hand is just dangling, or do you should do both hands?
Two hands for accuracy, but one of the things I also want to really emphasize is that At least for me personally, I see like shooting as entertainment, as a sport, as like good pastime. Because I don't think like since we live in a civilized world, most of the time we can just call like 911, and even if
Got it. That is a little hard.
and even if like something do happen, there's like some kind of like break-in or something, you shooting another person, especially in California, even though you have the right to shoot another person, will actually still bring you a lot of like
Legal trouble.
legal trouble.
What if they're in your house?
Make sure you don't shoot them in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be in the front.
It has to be in the
This is
back.
another type of safety.
Wild West.
Yeah, because
You know,
with
fire from,
California,
like,
I believe they still have the castle doctrine. But
Interesting, yeah, there's different kinds of safety.
basically you can only use your weapons when your life is in danger. So if someone has their back turned and you shoot them, that means that they weren't attacking you and your life wasn't in danger. So therefore you technically kill somebody just because, even though they are in your house.
Small little correction. Not just yourself in danger, anyone else in danger too.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I don't know.
What if they're like, what if you just injure their hand or their
I
foot
don't know who I am.
versus killing them? Is
Uh,
that like, is there a difference?
They're suspiciously specific questions.
Yeah.
What are you planning?
Legally, I'm not quite sure too.
Well, if you kill him, he can't argue back, so you know.
Yeah, so
Sounds-
Okay, with different weapons, there's different ammo, and this is just kind of like a short list of most common handgun ammos. What people usually use is a 9mm or a 45, and this is from like the smallest to biggest.
So
And
the
different-
Glock is 9mm, and the smaller handgun is 22. Yeah.
And a lot of different weapons have like different type of bullets, or different ammo have different type of bullets. With
If you look at this.
most of them, we use
Look for ammo.
full metal jackets, or basically just solid
And
lead.
what was the second?
Comparatively, a lot of like home defense, or hunting, they use hollow
Wanted to
point,
point that direction.
where the bullet actually kind of explode in when in impact, and that will cause more damage. The rest is kind of like not as common, but how much does estimate?
Too expensive.
Yeah, 50 cents each bullet. Yeah.
So every time you fire,
That's why I'm gonna shoot it.
like
I can't afford it.
when we fire here, that's like $10 gone in like that, 20 seconds.
Expensive.
Next, we're gonna talk about shotgun.
That's so cool. Whoa. Whoa.
Same thing follows the general rule. Shotgun is primarily used for home defense. It's great for home defense because the bullets that these carry can shoot in a large area, so you don't have to like be good at aiming or anything. It also is used for like a lot of bird games or bird hunting and stuff. But generally, shotguns are relatively cheap. I think when I went to a store one time, it was only like 200 something for just a shotgun. So these are, yes.
How much is a handgun relative to, like, how much is a handgun cost?
Handgun could actually get expensive depending on the brand and model. California, because there are some regulations with handguns too, that they can get expensive. How much you got the Glock for, Sam?
So it's like a car. You want to buy like a brand, like Toyota, BMW. So pretend that's Toyota. That was like $300. the Glock, the heavier pistol, was around like 500, 600.
Whoa, wow, whoa, okay.
Oh, we can make that work.
Yeah, we're all pitching in.
Okay, well, shotguns, when they first invented back in World War One in 1918, when the United States or the Allied force used it against, bad guys.
Yes.
The Germans actually complained about, hey, the shotguns is too effective, and we should ban them. And this is the time when they were using like mustard gas and like all the different stuff.
Yeah.
And it has gotten the nickname the war crime state.
I mean, not bad.
With shotguns, there are 3 features on this one at least that Sam showed me, because I'm also not very familiar with this. We have this release valve, right? Where like once you release this, you can cock the weapon, and there's a safety here comparatively to the Glock or the 1911 Walter. The safety is right here, little button. If you press it,
Color.
will be a different color here,
Oh, it's
red.
red.
So
That means
red
that
means fire.
usually red is dangerous.
Danger zone.
So with this, unlike magazines where you actually stick it into the gun itself, there's actually a chamber right here that feeds the bullet. So once you cock it, and you put one in the chamber, it actually feeds the bullet from here. And every time you shoot, the bullet actually will automatically reload, right? Every time you cock.
So you gotta do it one by one?
Yes.
How many does that one hold?
8.
One in the chamber and 7
And
below.
so in order to like cock it, you do have to press and hold here.
Random search, random search.
Why are you here before someone else?
Hello there.
It's right here. The fuzz is here, so we put it over here.
Much like handguns, there's a variety of bullets for shotgun. We call them shotgun shells, and a lot of these does a lot of different applications. Like the 410 is mainly used for like rats or like different vermins around the farm area. It's relatively cheap and it's the smallest gauge within the shotgun. And with all these like different gauges, they can't just like all fit into the same shotgun. So with different gauges, I think that's a 12 gauge, right? Yeah, so a 12 gauge can only use a 12 gauge rounds. It can't fit a 410 or like 10 gauge or like a 28 gauge round. So you have to have a specific like you have to have a specific shotgun to fit these rounds in there.
Push forward, push forward.
You have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it.
With
this one.
shotgun, because of its utility and variety, there's also comes with different ammo types. First we have the birdshot, which is many different tiny little lead pebbles. It's very good to kill like vermin too, and a lot of any bird games. That's why it's usually called birdshot. Buckshot, as its name called, is used for hunting to kill any larger to medium game. And with buckshot, there's bigger pebbles that shoots out in a further direction, but in a smaller area. And with slugs, slugs are just basically a bullet that's hidden in a shotgun. It packs a punch, and it goes the furthest, but you basically have to aim. Comparatively, birdshot and buckshot, you don't have to aim.
Do the bullets look the same, or can you tell, like whether, if I'm looking at two,
So these are actually the bullets. I know it's kind of grainy, but it's one of the better picture of representation of the bullet sizes. With birdshot, you see how many like tiny little pebble. They say that like supposedly birdshot is technically non-lethal because it doesn't kill you, it just peppers you really nicely. With any buckshot actually comes in variety too. There's different sizes of metal balls inside that buckshot. As you can see, this is one of the 2 different sizes. And of course, slugs, which is one of these inside one of this. And 1 per round, basically.
But the outer shell itself is the same, right? It's
Yeah.
just the inside. that
Yeah,
is-
and generally, different brands also have their own different color coding and stuff. Like,
So, for home defense, which one would you use, the slug or the larger buckshot?
what I was told is that for home defense, you want first birdshot
Oh,
to basically work as a warning and a deterrent. And if they're still coming at you, you will want to use a buckshot.
okay.
Yeah.
Not
Never
this one.
use slug because it'll go through your walls and more, a lot more.
It's expensive.
No property damage.
No property. What is, sorry, what was the slug used for, like, more generally? Like, what do you ever use it slug?
Big game hunting.
Oh, big.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought that was the buck.
It also works with big game hunting too, buckshot. But with slug shots, you're aiming at one direction with like any like bigger like moose or bears or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You want them to like have a good stopping power and pack a punch.
So it's not, you're not like ruining more of the meat, right? I guess,
yeah.
or more of the pelt might get
Little-
destroyed. Function. What is this? Who is that?
Wow. That was familiar. Who is that? Wow. Look at that. That's
Not the same.
another shot.
Dude,
Was that
you
a-
murdered that.
Just look at his ass then there. Just look at everyone else's ass.
Look at this other dude.
It looks no familiar.
And you see like how it kicks. That's Andy, by the way, if you guys want. If you
Demonstrate.
see how big he was, and it still give him like a really big kick on the shoulder.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
The next we're gonna talk about semi-automatic rifles. We currently here we don't have one, so I'm just gonna go through the slides. All these weapon system we call them or guns have different components inside that you can't really see until like you take it off. Like there's components behind here, there's springs, and different things. And with a semi-automatic rifle or AR type like rifles or AR type weapons, these are all the components in here, and it looks super complicated because it is, and that's why it's kind of expensive. I think this is a M4,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
M16 was longer.
yeah, this is what the military actually use. And with semi-automatic weapons, it's not just like this danger-looking one. There's also like different ones that looks like hunting rifles and stuff too. Semi-automatic rifle only means that you don't have to put a round or actually like cock the machine in order to shoot. It just means that you can go pull the trigger, bang, pull the trigger, bang, pull the trigger, bang. With automatic rifles, what that means is that you're allowed to pull and hold the trigger and just go bang, 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 bang. Wow, look at that transition. Oh my god. There's a little
Appreciating
GIF
transition.
or GIF. So you put one in the chamber, and then you pull the trigger, toss the hammer, shoots out the bullet, and then since it's gas filled, it automatically push back, and then fills in the new bullets in there. And same thing with rifles. There's a lot of different ammunitions, from the smallest to the right side to the largest to the left side. What we generally use as Americans is usually the 5.56. That's the NATO version or NATO standard. So North American Alliance, we all use that for our military. The other most popular one is the 7.62, which is what the communists use. A lot of the AK-47 you hear in movies, they use that kind of ammo. but generally 5.56 is more common since we're in the North American side. 22, I've seen like some videos on YouTube where like people use 22 to hunt boars, because apparently boar in different like area of the country is actually a vermin, and they reproduce a lot and they destroy fields and whatnot. And much like the handgun and the shotgun, there's also different types of bullets, not just like regular bullets. So ball means right here, which is just a regular bullet. We have dummy rounds, which is here and here and where? Oh, here and here. Which one do you have, Steven?
I do have a hammer.
Yeah.
It's probably just a regular one.
Basically, dummy rounds. There's no gunpowder. The bullet itself is not real. It's practice. It's used for practice and training for reloading. And the next one would be blanks. Blanks basically cost as much as a regular bullet, so it's not sold very often. Besides in military trainings. And of course, we have tracer round, which is also sold. But when you shoot a tracer round, it's supposed to tell the direction of where the shot goes, but usually like because bullets move so fast, you can't really like see anything anyways. But that's another common one.
Wait, how does that work? Does something like come like a line you can see?
Yeah, it's supposed to like have a
Some chemistry in there.
yeah.
Some power element.
Yeah.
It's weird. I shot tracer round before in the military, and Sam bought some tracer round for us to like mess around with, but it doesn't really work. I forgot to add the slide here, but Sam, how much does a regular box of 5.56 cost? Where 20 bullets,
Let's say $20.
give or
Dollar
take.
per round.
Especially California actually had new tax law with guns. So whenever you buy weapons or ammunitions, there's actually a 11% add-on tax to any weapons you or ammo that you buy.
Expensive.
Yeah. So guns is a expensive but very fun hobby. Wow, look at that transition. So that was when I was in training. We had to fire out all of our blanks, and that's automatic rifle, where like I just press and hold. Comparatively, this is a semi-automatic rifle where we have to press each time in order to fire. That was really fun.
What were you shooting at?
Nothing.
Nor am I.
Because these are blanks. We use them for military trainings. We just say, oh, there's an enemy right there, and we point at them and shoot. And since nothing comes out because there's no bullet head, it just makes a sound.
And the casings come up too.
Yeah, cases comes out too, and you actually get the kickback, so you get the feeling of actually shooting. Whee! And this is some other video of like when we went to the range. And reason why we're showing this is we want to show that like shooting is fun. Just shooting random stuff is fun. Wasting a lot of money on this. Thank you, Sam. It's fun.
Oh,
wow.
duck hunts.
I
Try it.
It kind of juice though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Is that safe?
Damn, Master Chief over here.
Let's just do that ground.
Yeah, that grunt sucks.
you just see that like was at an open field. We made sure nobody was there, and we're not really shooting at anything. We're just honestly playing around. It's not really target practice because the feeling of like shooting a gun in general is surprisingly exhilarating and like exciting. It's like whoa.
I was just,
Yes.
do you just go anywhere to
shoot it, or can you go to specified area?
No, so where we
Cop or
were,
something?
Let's go anywhere. What do you mean?
Sorry.
Anywhere? What-
where
As long
we
as
were,
it's
where we were, is
Government land.
yeah, government owned land, and I forgot what it's called, BLM. I don't remember what it stands for. Yeah. And they actually let you like just go out and put up your own targets and like shoot. But it is, I think, like a 3-4 hour drive from San Francisco. Okay. Oh, I didn't really talk about this.
Oh shit.
So very much like Sam bought this in California, so it's California compliant, but doesn't look like it, to be honest. Looks, and it's heavy. So this is what is this?
B5.
MP5, yes, and it shoots
That's not a shotgun, is it?
no MP5, and it shoots the smallest bullet over there. Maybe not that one, but it's a 22 round.
How many shots of 22 would it take?
Like wow.
To what?
Just out of
It's
curiosity.
like one to the
Was
head.
it?
Like how many shots of a 22 would it take to put someone down?
I'm sure it's like.
Bro, I think we're friends.
Hit a major artery. That's it.
22 is a very small bullet. God.
Like
Yeah.
at least 3 or 4, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're actually far away, if you're far enough away, it might actually not even puncture your skin, to be honest. Or if you're behind like some like cover, because 22
Is it
itself.
won't puncture your skin?
If you're far enough away.
Yeah.
How far are we talking?
Yeah.
Too wild.
You're wrong right
How
there.
there?
It won't penetrate like if you had a car or a wall, but it will definitely penetrate the skin.
But yeah, like but if you're in a closer range, definitely it is lethal. And also like depends on where you hit. It is definitely lethal. Actually, I believe during the research, a lot of the most common gun-related injuries is actually comes from 22.
What other guns shoot a 22?
Both handguns and some semi-automatic rifles do shoot 22s, but it also like really depends on the gun itself. Handgun that shoots 22 or revolver that shoots 22 should be relatively cheaper, yeah. But comparatively, how much is this thing costing?
That's expensive.
500?
Andrew?
500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all chipping in.
Okay.
We're gonna vote on
So
what we're
that's
gonna
the
buy.
same cost as a pen.
Yeah, that and
The spread leg.
those two are actually in the same class. That's considered a handgun. I don't know how, but they consider that as a handgun.
No, I didn't.
Usually it will be considered a semi-automatic rifle.
That's surprising that it
If it's a 9mm, yeah, that's the trick.
With this, you can grab it right here. There's a very obvious like safety on fire. You don't want to put it on fire, it's on safety. There's a magazine release right here. And this is chambers where you're going to put your hands here. Right, cock it, right. Yeah. So whenever this is what function is this? Cocking?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
called, you're pulling the charging handle
Yeah.
to fucking do something.
So pulling the charging handle and leaving it open shows if there's any bullets inside. You see that once I pass this around, you can see the tiny little bullet hole that's actually in here. That's how small the 22 round is. That fits in here.
You're locking the bolt to the rear.
You may want to mention one long thing
Some might
at
say
the
it's
end.
above average.
What? Yes.
The long thing at the end.
This is nice.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You may want to mention that.
Wait,
Is
what?
this a?
That's not real,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's not a suppressor.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Those are- Wait, what do you mean?
But it comes like that
Oh,
because
just
it needs the length. California likes the length of a.
Oh.
so you can't conceal it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Weird California gun.
It has to be.
And that's actually what I'm also going to talk about.
Question. So would the same features on an AR be illegal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that will be a long rifle, and from like the previous picture, yeah.
We're passing it around. We'll get it back to you.
As I mentioned before, California is the strictest state in the United States in terms of gun laws, and we are, I think, number 4 on the lowest firearm mortality. I think Rhode Island, New York, I don't know if the city or the state, I think it's the state, and like another 2 places that's actually above us in terms of firearm mortality. So we're actually doing pretty good so far.
Do they have stricter gun control laws over there?
No, we still have the strictest. But we also have the largest, we're one of the largest states in the United States. So we actually have a lot of different backgrounds and culture. You know, SoCal people is definitely different from like North Cal people.
What's okay? Sorry, go ahead.
So with different like culture and like backgrounds, you know, especially in guns, we're actually doing fairly good so far. They say that I saw on the internet that every 3 hours someone dies because of a gun. Yeah. I don't know how true that is, but that's what CA.gov said. And more than half of those, is it more than half? Yeah, more than half of those is a result of suicide by guns. Yeah. So more than half of like our yearly like gun death is because of suicide. So mental health definitely plays a really large role in terms of like gun violence. Since 2019, aggregated assault with firearm has been on the rise in California, and since the beginning of this year, we have 27 mass shootings. The most the latest one is actually was in Oakland. Someone was shooting up a sideshow area in the streets, and 5 persons got injured. No people died, but that was the latest mass shooting in California, and we have had 27th already. So
Okay.
yes,
What constitutes as a mass shooting?
we're from what I read in the website, Wikipedia. They consider when like someone takes a gun out in public and try to like cause the most harm to most people. That could even be they count mass shootings even with like gang related violence like a drive-by. They count that as a mass shooting too.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the difference between an aggravated assault and a regular assault?
Regular assault can be just me punching you with my fist. Aggregated assault usually means like with weapons, like firearms.
So I can't, so if I were to strike you with my firearm, would that be
Aggravated.
That
aggravated?
is a very good question that you should ask your lawyer.
The chapter secrets, don't figure me. Okay, I'm just like.
Again, with this demonstration, this class, the goal of what I want to do is to kind of like explain to everyone that comparatively, even though some of the rules in California doesn't make sense, we are doing pretty good in terms of like gun safety. We do have background check all across the board. We're number 4 within like mortality rate. Number 4 lowest in the states in terms of mortality rate. So that's a good thing.
Number 4 out of 50.
There's work to do, guys.
Yeah. Question.
Yes.
Wait, so would you say that the strict gun policy in California worked?
Statistics and government website is saying that they work. But there are also like other different voices outside saying that like, hey, it's not really working. Violence is coming back up since 2019. but if we remember what happened in 2019, everyone, there was COVID, and then since then, inflation, and then like with our economy doing so bad, everything's kind of like messy right now. But I personally believe that like with the strict gun control, even though some of them doesn't make sense, is working. And honestly, I do view these as entertainment rather than like home defense or self-defense, because I'm not gonna be carrying guns outside unless we're going to a range. And even when I'm at home, well, I'm poor, so I have nothing to be stolen. Secondly,
Yeah, that's dark.
secondly,
Too poor to get one.
secondly, I was also researching, because I didn't want to make the presentation too long, but I was also researching on like the chances of you getting robbed and like them bringing a gun and you fighting back with your own gun. The average is like fairly low, because most of the time when someone breaks in, they break in during the daytime when you're not home and steal all your stuff. And even if it's nighttime where like they rob you and they have guns out, most of the time you won't have enough time to respond. And even when you do respond, it actually escalates the danger so much more, because when you have a gun, the other person have a gun, shooting begins, the chances of like somebody's dying, either you or someone, the criminal, is fairly high. I mean, you want a criminal to die, but like, you're also putting yourself in danger. So owning a gun and like, either for home defense or whatever, is definitely your personal choice. However, for me personally, guns are really fun to shoot, as you see in like some of the videos. And yeah, maybe like tomorrow there's or like when Trump doesn't get elected and we're gonna have a civil war, and like you want something to protect yourself. You never know.
I know where I'm going.
However, guns are expensive, bullets are expensive. Learning to use them, you have to have the gun and shoot the gun. So both of these things come expensive. And if I have any extra money by the end of the month, I would rather put it into my 401k or like Roth IRA.
Smart man right there.
Hence why, because I don't actually own a gun, even though I'm in the military. There's actually, all these is actually Sam's weapons, and he's generously like let us borrow it to like heal any particular.
Thank you.
But any questions? Any other questions?
Let's go shoot together.
Any other question? Oh, yeah.
Gun range, at least the BLM is 3 to 4 hours away.
It's a full day commitment.
Yeah, it's a full day commitment, and it's also like when
We're also
there,
going to be camping a little bit, kinda.
yeah, with like lawn chairs and like
Tense.
tents and whatnot, because it is really hot over there. Also like bullet costs a lot of money.
How much does it cost, like, overall, like, the experience, like, the whole thing?
Priceless.
Honestly, it's really, there's those are only like some of the videos that we took. Definitely like it's really fun. And I also think like learning something that's this dangerous in a safe environment is always beneficial, because it's like learning how to drive even though you don't own a car. You rather have it and have knowledge of it rather than like not know how to use it or do it when you need it.
Yeah. That's good.
Yes.
Is it silencer or suppressor?
I think they kind of come interchange, but in California, that's any silencer or anything that hides a muzzle flash is illegal. Yeah.
It's really weird looking, great, but it's very mutated.
That's the question.
That was it.
Yeah.
Thank you.